In 1314, the King of England banned football. It did not work. He tried again. So did the kings who came after him, over and over. For 300 years, the crown kept banning it, and the crown kept losing. So what were ordinary people doing on their days off that worried a king this much? Start with the year itself, because the year is what fun was built around. Almost everybody worked the land, and land work does not come out evenly. Ploughing, sowing, haymaking, harvest. Weeks of hard labour, then long stretches with little to do. The church cut the year up as well, with saints' days and holy days scattered through it. Now, you have probably read that medieval people had more days off than we do. Be careful with that one. Historians still argue about it, and the honest answer is messy. There were a lot of holy days on the calendar. Whether people actually rested on all of them is another question. A harvest does not wait for a saint. Nobody took a day off on their own. When the parish stopped, it stopped all at once. A bell decided it. When that rang, every pair of hands in the village went still. And when a whole parish stops at once, it all walks to the same place. The green. A rough patch of common grass in the middle of the village. On an ordinary morning, this is all it is. Wet grass, mud and mist. Then comes a feast day. It starts early. Stalls go up along the edge. By midday, the whole parish is out. The games start, and they are not gentle. Then music and dancing on the grass. At dusk, somebody lights the fire, and nobody goes home for hours. This happened dozens of times a year. So what actually happened out there? Start with the game that frightened 5 kings. They called it camp ball or football, and it was barely a game at all. 2 villages, or sometimes 2 ends of the same village. No limit on how many played. The pitch was the countryside itself. Fields, hedges, streams, and straight through the road. The goal might be a church porch or a mill gate a mile from where you started. There were almost no rules, no pitch markings, and nobody at all playing referee. Broken bones were ordinary. Deaths were rare, but when they happened, somebody wrote them down. Wrestling pulled a crowd too, and so did anything at all with a bet riding on it. Archery was the respectable one, the game nobody got in trouble for. Hold that thought. Dancing was the everyday pleasure, out on the green and often in the churchyard too. Morris dancing shows up in English records from the late 1400s onward. Notice who is missing from most of this. Almost everything so far has been men. That is partly the records, not the reality. Women ran a good deal of village pleasure. They brewed the ale, sold the ale, and decided whose house the evening happened in. And once a year, at Hocktide, they collected money by tying men up in the street. On one day, the women caught the men and charged them a ransom for the parish funds. On the other day, the men did the same to the women. The accounts survive. In parish after parish, the women's day brought in more money than the men's. Children had their own version of all of it, and we know because the toys turn up. Spinning tops, hoops, clay whistles, knuckle bones, and tiny pewter knights dug out of London mud. Once a year, in the bigger towns, the whole place put on a play. The trade guilds staged them, bakers, shipwrights, glovers, each one given a scene to perform. They built painted devils and a hellmouth that breathed real smoke over the front row. Indoors, it was quieter. Boards scratched straight into benches, ledges and cloister seats. 9 men's Morris. Tables, which we now call backgammon, chess, if you had money, and dice, which cost nothing, travelled anywhere and caused most of the trouble. Playing cards reached England late, somewhere near the end of the 1400s. But most evenings, fun meant one building, and you found it by looking for the bush. A bush on a pole meant the ale was ready. That was the whole sign, and everyone read it. Ale was brewed at home in small batches, usually by a woman, and it did not keep. So the moment a batch was ready, she had to sell it, and her house became the alehouse. It starts quiet, mid-afternoon, and she is the only one in it. 2 men come in off the field, then 5. Somebody lights a rushlight, and the room stops being a house. For a few hours it is the loudest place in the parish. Then it tips. People drift home. 2 stay too long. And by morning it is somebody's front room again. That room was doing a lot more than serving drink. And this is where it gets strange. Deals were struck there. Debts were settled there. Work was agreed for the week ahead. Even the church was in the trade. Parishes brewed ale and sold it to raise money. They were called church ales, and the takings paid for roofs, bells and repairs. One more thing to clear up here, because you have almost certainly been told it. People did not drink ale because water would kill them. They drank water as well, every day. Ale was food, thick, filling, cheap, and it came with somewhere warm to sit and someone to talk to. Now back to that king, and the part of this that turns the whole thing around. In 1314 the order went out across London. No more hustling over large balls in the streets. Then it went out again. And again. Reign after reign, for the best part of 3 centuries, which tells you something on its own. You do not have to ban a thing twice if it stopped. And here is the reversal. The crown was not only banning fun, it was ordering it. Every able-bodied man was supposed to practice at the bow. That was not advice, it was law. In 1541, Henry VIII's Parliament put both halves into a single act. Keep up your archery, give up bowls, tennis, dice and cards. And some of those games stayed perfectly legal for the rich, while being banned for everybody else. So the question we started with had a legal answer, coming at you from both directions at once. Which leaves the obvious question. Did any of it make the slightest difference? No. And the bans failed for the same dull reason most bans fail. There was nobody to enforce them. A parish policed itself, or nobody policed it at all. Fines were handed down and paid, and the same men were out playing again the next feast day. Almost everything we know about medieval fun comes from people trying to put a stop to it. England was not unusual in this. Florence had its own violent ball game in the public squares. Not all of it was harmless. Animal baiting drew crowds in England for centuries. It stayed legal here until 1835, which is far later than most people expect. The village game never actually died. In 1863, a room full of men finally wrote the rules down. The bonfire still gets lit. The pub is still the room a village meets in. Fun was never handed down to ordinary people. They took it, and then they kept taking it. Next time, the hours nobody wrote down, because everybody was supposed to be asleep. Why people slept twice every night. See you there.